David's meditation on human mortality leads him to a crucial question. And now, Lord, what wait I for? My hope is in thee. Psalm 39, verse 7. The phrase, "and now," marks a transition. David moves from observation to application. He shifts from describing human frailty to addressing God. The question, "Lord, what wait I for?" reveals David's search for meaning. The word wait means to expect or hope. David asks what he should expect in life. If human existence amounts to vapor, what purpose remains? If wealth vanishes and life fades, where should a person place his expectations? David answers his own question. My hope is in thee. The word hope refers to confident expectation. David places his trust in God alone. He finds his security not in earthly things, but in the eternal God. This represents the only reasonable response to human frailty. When a person understands his mortality, he must turn to the immortal God. Verse 8 continues David's appeal. Deliver me from all my transgressions. Make me not the reproach of the foolish. Psalm 39, verse 8. The word deliver means to rescue or save. David asks God to save him from all my transgressions. The word transgressions refers to rebellion and sin. David recognizes that sin poses his greatest problem. Physical frailty troubles him, but spiritual rebellion threatens him more. The second request reads, Make me not the reproach of the foolish. The word reproach means disgrace or shame. David does not want to become a source of mockery. The word foolish describes those who reject God. Psalm 14:1 states, The fool hath said in his heart, There is no God. David fears his sins might give these fools reason to mock God's people. He wants his life to honor God, not bring shame. David explains his silence in verse 9. I was dumb, I opened not my mouth, because thou didst it. Psalm 39, verse 9. The word dumb means mute. David kept quiet during his suffering. The phrase, I opened not my mouth, reinforces this point. He chose not to complain or protest. The reason appears in the last phrase, because thou didst it. David recognizes God's sovereignty over his circumstances. The word thou refers to God. David believes God controls his situation. This knowledge silenced his complaints. When a person sees God's hand in his trials, he stops arguing against them. Job illustrates this truth. After losing his children, his wealth, and his health, he declared, The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Job 1:21. Job recognized God's sovereignty and submitted to his will. Verse 10 shows David's breaking point. Remove thy stroke away from me. I am consumed by the blow of thine hand. Psalm 39:10. The word remove means to take away. David asks God to end his discipline. The word stroke refers to a plague or affliction. David feels the pressure of God's judgment. The phrase, I am consumed, shows David's exhaustion. The word consumed means to waste away or perish. David reached his limit. The expression, the blow of thine hand, identifies God as the source of his suffering. The word blow refers to a strike or punishment. David understands God disciplines him for his own good. Hebrews 12:6 states, For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. God's discipline proves his love. Yet this knowledge does not eliminate the pain. David feels the weight of God's correction and asks for relief. Verse 11 explains the purpose of God's discipline. When thou, with rebukes, dost correct man for iniquity, thou makest his beauty to consume away like a moth. Surely every man is vanity. Selah. Psalm 39:11. The phrase, "when thou with rebukes dost correct man," describes God's method. The word rebukes means reproofs or corrections. God uses discipline to correct human behavior. The word correct means to instruct or chasten. God teaches through his rebukes. The purpose appears in the phrase, "for iniquity." The word iniquity refers to sin and wickedness. God disciplines people because of their sins. His corrections target specific moral failures. The phrase, "thou makest his beauty to consume away like a moth," illustrates the effect of God's discipline. The word beauty refers to what a person values or desires. God causes these things to waste away. The comparison, "like a moth," shows how this happens. Moths consume fabric in a slow, consistent manner. God's discipline works the same way. It removes what people trust in apart from him. The verse concludes with the refrain, "Surely every man is vanity." Selah. David returns to his principal theme. Human life remains brief and insubstantial. The word Selah calls for meditation. David wants readers to pause and reflect on this truth. This passage shows the proper response to human mortality. David does not despair when he sees life's brevity. He does not pursue wealth or pleasure as if these things could satisfy. Instead, he turns to God. David places his hope in the Eternal One. He asks God to deliver him from sin. David submits to God's discipline. He recognizes God's sovereignty over his circumstances. The passage also reveals God's purpose in discipline. God corrects his people because he loves them. He removes their false security. The Lord shows them the vanity of earthly things. He teaches them to hope in him alone. This process brings pain, but it produces spiritual growth. It turns people away from temporary pleasures and toward eternal realities. David's honesty stands out in this passage. He does not pretend to enjoy suffering. David confesses his exhaustion. He asks God to remove the affliction, yet even in his pain, he maintains his faith. He keeps his hope in God. David trusts in God's sovereignty, and he accepts God's authority to discipline him.